Hello, welcome everybody. I'm going to give it a minute. Looks like we got a few more joining us, but thanks for joining us for the December NCL coaches call. I know it's usually busy for everybody, so thanks for taking a few moments out of your day to join us. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started and talk about what we're doing today. So there we go. Quick little welcome. If you're new to the call, hello, I'm David Zaitchik. I'm the NCL Commissioner. And again, just want to welcome you to our December call. We're having this more like as a recap of the season. And then also, one of the things that we do at the end of the year is figure out like, what can we do moving forward? So it's kind of a two-parter today. What did we do in the past? What do we want next year to look like? So I'm excited to have some of those discussions with you today. And here's our agenda. So this is what we want to talk about. Of course, got to tell you about what's coming up in spring. So what are those competition dates? We have a brief intro to some NCL analytics that I just want to get those out so you can see them, just so we can start thinking about some of the possibilities of some of the data that's available to us. So I'm going to just show you three slides of data that our data analyst created for us and have some discussion about that. Some spring updates, and talk about our new NCL board members, some Q&A, and then again, we'll break out and have some discussions. So that's what we're going to do today. And I noticed a few people joining as I was going over this, so welcome. Again, I'm David Zaitchik, the NCL Commissioner, and welcome to our call. Here's what we're doing for the next hour. All right, so spring competition dates. I don't want to steal the thunder from Emily or Ashley. Either of you want to jump in on this or?
Sure. All
Okay.
right.
Hello,
So,
Emily. Welcome.
hi, everybody. Alrighty. So, our spring 2025 competition dates registration will be opening on January 27th. So, mark your calendars. Late registration is going to begin on March 22nd and it's going to close on March 25th. The practice game will take place March 31st through April 6th. The individual game will be April 11th through the 12th. And then I think we're missing a date there actually. And then the team game will be April 25th to the 27th. And then the gym is going to close on May 24th. And I'm looking at April really quick. It's actually going to be April, I'm looking at 2024. It'll be the 11th through the 13th for the individual game. And then the team game will be April 25th to the 27th.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, no changes there in terms of times, I don't think. We're still sticking with the Friday to Sunday,
Yep.
10 a.m.
Exactly.
Pacific to Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So just so you know, looks like status quo here. Just different dates, but same concepts. 3 days for individual team, and then again a whole week for the practice. And then, as usual, the gym will be open the entire season from registration opening all the way through May 24th. So long time to practice in that gym. All right, so like I had promised, wanted to show you some statistics, some data that we've had our data analyst prepare. And unfortunately, she is not on the call, so I am presenting on her behalf. And really, what I want you to get out of this is just some of the ideas of data that we could present. As I'm showing you this, maybe start thinking about, that what would be fun to see, what would be useful to see, what would be useful to the community, what might be useful to you and your school. So those are things to think about as I'm showing you this. And again, I did not create this, but I do plan to have our data analyst on a future coach's call. So she could not attend today, but I still wanted to present this data again, just to have you start thinking about the data and different things that we could do with it and share with you. So, with all that said, we had some questions that could be answered by our data. And the data that we were looking at specifically was the fall 22 through fall 23 seasons. So I'm pretty sure that would also include spring. So I think that would be 3 seasons total: fall 22, spring 23, fall 23. And what we looked at was, did players score differently between seasons? How did the scores of the 3 games compare? Do players who play more than one season score differently? Do players who scored well rate the game better? And are there player characteristics that correlate to difference in score? So those are some of the questions. And here is some of the data. And again, this is very well documented. And there's things on this chart that I can't answer, but I do want to again just show you the overview of what we found. And what we did find was, on the left-hand side, you can see a graph, and that is tied to the title, which is occurrence of user ID, so number of games played. And what this story tells us is that people who played one game, you can see on the left side here, score in this range. People who have played twice score in this range, and people who have played 3 times score in this range. And that's exactly what we want to see happen. We want to see students learn from this experience and have their scores improve from game to game to game. And I believe this is the individual game that we're showing here, the data for the individual game. And I'm just looking through comments. Do players improve in certain categories? Oh, good question. We're going to get to that one in a second. But again, just to pause on this graph just for a second again, it is showing us that players are improving their scores when they play 1, 2, and 3 times, which makes sense, but also is, I think, a very good statistic to actually see. All right, next slide is different ratings. So how um, players who've competed in one season compared to players that competed in 3 seasons in terms of how they rated their overall experience in NCL. And again, I can't tell you exactly which question this was based on. This could be cumulative. Again, I don't have the data creator here, but take this as, again, just more ideas in terms of what else could we, glean from this data. So what we have on the left here are players that have played 3 times compared to players that have played once. And you can see that, let's see, the ratings look higher on the left as compared to the right. And again, I know um, I hate to be this as a teacher, a little hand wavy, but this isn't my data, and I've only seen it once, and the data creator isn't here. And again, the idea here is to, start thinking about, what would be interesting to glean from this? Like, okay, yeah, good. Players who've played more than once like the game better. Maybe that makes sense because they're coming back to play again. Um, it's great to see they're liking it more compared to first time players. Um, Again, because that shows that players don't feel like they play it once and they don't learn anything from playing it again. This also, at least for me, shows that they possibly, obviously are learning and enjoying the experience time after time after time. So it's not getting stale and old. So those are some of my kind of overall takeaways. And yeah, I'd probably like to dive into some of this data a little bit more. All right, and the last piece of this is some qualitative work. Um, so I know our analyst was able to pull together some of this qualitative data using, I think it was ChatGPT or one of the LLMs. And the idea here was to find out what category, so that goes back to a question asked earlier on, which category, I think the question is what did they do best on, but this was actually what did they prefer? So overall, the top three preferred domains across all frequency groups, so kind of um, not pulling out the people who've played once versus the people who've played several times. Here's the ordering. So first, the overall preferred category was open source intelligence, and then cryptography, and then finally password cracking. And there are some differences. So some noticeable difference in shifts and preferences for people who've played multiple times, increase in interest. So players who've played multiple times, they like actually enumeration and exploitation and network traffic the most. And interestingly enough, their interest actually decreases in some of those top categories. So their interest decreases in open source intelligence, cryptography, and password cracking. So why is that? This might suggest that while these domains are initially attractive to first-time players, their appeal maybe diminishes relative to the other domains. And maybe these other domains that they prefer could be a little more challenging. So it could be that these first-time players love these because maybe they're easier and they can solve them. But players who come back and play again maybe realize that these might be a little bit easier, so they like some of the more challenging one. And again, these are kind of all guesses, but the data that we have here definitely shows that players who play repeatedly more than once do like open source intelligence, cryptography, and password cracking. Okay, well, actually, before I jump away from that, um, any initial thoughts on this? Again, I'm asking you to kind of think about this maybe over break. I know you'll have other things to do over break, but start thinking about we do have this data and we do have a person that can do more data analytic analysis for us. So, what questions could we be asking, and what questions would help you, show your administration how beneficial NCL is, and then, also maybe what else can we show to show future coaches the benefit of NCL or any other data we're looking at. So. I'll pause there and I'll look in chat, see what we have. I don't see anything popping up yet. I wonder, is this data that people expected to see? Anyone surprised about the top three categories and then top three changing? Not too surprised. And hopefully we're not too surprised about people improving over time. Okay, fair enough.
David,
Yeah,
can you hear me? I'm.
yeah.
I guess what I wanted to share is that Moorpark College has been participating now in the NCL for like 5 years, but I remember so many student experiences where students were very quiet, very shy, didn't really have the confidence, and I've had so many students who have gone through the NCL who are, a year and a half later, they're presenting, they're explaining some of the challenges, and I see their confidence, their competency, their self-confidence really improve dramatically. And that's really hard to measure. But I think for me as a teacher, the reason why I continue to do the NCL is because I have seen personally the self-development that's really, seeing someone who's really, really shy, doesn't want to share, doesn't want to collaborate, and then a year and a half later, wanting to lead a workshop, wanting to explain a challenge and the confidence. For me, that's the biggest value. Besides getting their performance report that they can log in and look at the history and see their own development, I love it. I had a situation where a student actually did that and shared how they didn't do so well the first time. Second time they did so much better, and third time they're doing really, really well, and now they're out in the workforce. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is very helpful. But I just wanted to share that.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think that is a really good thing to point out, and that might not be something that the data can show us is the confidence level that students have. And I see it too. And I think that's amazing to have students who are initially quiet and maybe a little afraid of what is this cybersecurity thing. But then when they actually go and are able to solve challenges and then see their scores improve season to season and move up the leaderboard, I think there's a huge thing to be said about that, how that confidence improves. And it's great to see that they do want to step up and show that off and also share with others to share their experience and share their knowledge. So, yeah, great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Appreciate it. And let's see, I had a couple things pop up in chat. Yeah, over time, players probably stories. Yeah, possibly. Probably learning more as they're taking more classes. And yeah, thanks, Costas, for pointing out the whole talk about soft skills. And that's something that recruiters are looking at. So confidence definitely helps with some of those soft skills. Interested in further analysis along these lines. It'd be nice to know what domains are the step ups for the new versus experienced users. Um, Russell, did you want to explain that a little bit more in terms of what you're looking for, step ups for new versus experienced users?
Yeah, I guess from my side, it's not obvious that, or it's obvious that those three categories are the ones that the basic users would do, because that's the ones I demo, like when I'm like, hey, why don't you try this game? Here's some easy stuff to do. But what it'd
Yeah.
be nice to know is like those are the three I can demo to the brand new people, but where do I start when it's the second? And where do I start when it's the third? So it's almost like, yeah, it'd just be nice to kind of have a handle on where to take them. What's the next step for the kids or the students?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Good point. And yeah, maybe it could be like what we see with their interest increasing for those more experienced players. I do find that my students do like the enumeration and exploitation more after they've played the game more than once, because that can be an intimidating category. So yeah, that might be one to jump to. Network traffic and analysis, I mean, that aligns with one of my classes. So I feel like that's a one that I'm hoping most of my students jump into because they can, recognize, oh, hey, I did that in class. Maybe I'll try it in NCL.
David, I got
All
some
right.
interesting feedback. It's
Yeah. Go ahead,
just
Bob.
real quickly. The students that had done it last spring now did it in the fall. I'm going to say it this way. I got complaints that it was harder. I'm going to say the complaints are good because I want to push them right to the pain point. And you hit it right on the head. They were obsessed with the enumeration challenges.
Yeah.
And those are hard. But it shows that they're growing, and as they grow, they have to get into the next level of being uncomfortable. You know what I mean, right? Um,
Yep.
um,
And-
but they made a comment. They said, "Oh, it was harder." And I think that's great because we want to be challenging them.
yeah. And that is one thing, that's hard, definitely very hard in a competition like this to make sure your challenges remain the same, right? Between the easy, medium, and hard. You want to make sure that those easy are easy from season to season, and
Yeah.
medium from season to season, and hard from season to season.
Right.
And I think Cyber Skyline does a great job with that. And we actually one data piece that I didn't show you from the report, was we did look at average scores season to season, and those do um, relatively remain the same. I think we had kind of one little blip a couple seasons ago, but over time, the average score remains the same, which, is telling us that people are scoring about the same across each season, which means that I think that probably also equates to that the level of difficulty is about the same from season to season. And that's definitely important to me because, I grade based upon an overall score that I tell them that they need to aim for even before they start. So I know how well my students typically do season to season. So that's why I tell them, hey, this is the average that students have gotten in the past. So this is where I expect you to aim for. And um, to be able to do that, I have to trust that, those challenges won't fluctuate too much in the level of difficulty. So yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's a good point in terms of pointing out level of difficulty from season to season. All right. So do you have data on new participants for the fall versus the spring season? I do, but haven't looked at that one yet. So that might be something more to dive into. And again, my plan is to have, oh, can we still hear me? My plan is to have our data analyst on a future coaches call. So when she's here, we can ask her some of these questions. But again, I wanted to present this just to have this kind of initial thought of what else would we be interested in. So look for a future coaches call with our data analyst and see what she says in terms of things that we can actually glean from the data that we have, because we do have a lot of data from many seasons that is I think ripe for the picking. Okay, let's move on to spring updates and our future of NCL. And our future of NCL is our board. So a couple of announcements, and I'm frantically looking through, seeing who's here from the board. I see a couple people. Good. One big announcement is we do have a new chair of the NCL board. Doc, who's right here, pictured right here, almost in the middle of the picture. He is our new chair. And Jasmine, who's been on the board for a little while now, is the new secretary. Costas, who has been on the board since the inception of the NCL, is still our treasurer. I am still the commissioner. And we have two brand new members to the NCL board, Laura and Yuri. And they're both going to be working on our finance committee with Costas. So, welcome new board members. Who did I see? I think I saw Laura. Are you here? Did you want to say anything? Say hi? Or I saw Jasmine. Oh, go ahead, Laura.
Hi, I think my computer's a little slow. Yeah, just saying hi. I'm happy to serve on the board and looking forward to giving back and participating. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Laura. And I did see Jasmine. Any quick words from you, Jasmine?
Yeah, hey everyone. I've been on the board for a little over 6 months. I've been to a few coaches calls, so some of you might recognize my voice. If not, happy to serve and looking forward to working with each of you. Thank you. Thanks, David.
You're welcome. And finally, Costas.
Thanks, David. I don't think I'll take much time. It's a tribute, really, to the NCL growth and to the Cyber Skyline that's empowering this competition to insane levels. So we passed 10,000. I think the entire world is in shock about our numbers. We're here as NCL to make sure that we listen to the coaches, we articulate your ideas, and perhaps sponsor some research. And I think, David, you might have that as a topic either today or later on, so that we can understand the impact NCL is having on the kids. So thanks very much, and I look forward to hearing from you and to serving your best interests. Thanks.
Great. Thanks so much, Costas. And again, welcome everybody to the new board. And now is a quick time where I know I've already taken a little bit of Q&A, but this was kind of set up as general Q&A. Does anybody have any burning NCL questions that you think would be good to ask the group that would benefit the group with some of our answers? All right, I'll give it a second. Maybe everybody's distracted grading. Are we all grading right now? Oh, okay, great. Have you thought about providing gym access year-round? I might throw that over to Cyber Skyline. You guys want to answer that?
Yeah,
And
I'm happy to answer. Hi, it's Emily, everybody. So we do have a Cyber Skyline lab kit that is available to be a supplemental learning opportunity. That could be for over the summer or possibly another opportunity if you need a lab component or something like that for your students. You can find more information on their Cyber Skyline website about the lab kit, or you can certainly reach out to me and I'll put my email address in the chat. And I'd be happy to discuss with you options for the lab kit. We have 3 different options: introduction, standard, and advanced, depending on the skill sets of your students and what you're looking for. But for right now, we don't have anything that's going to be formalized as like the NCL competition for the spring and the fall. But we may have some more like community events, things of that nature over the summer time frame where we can hopefully get some more interaction with everybody. Summer's interesting, as you know. Some people are around, others are not. So it's hopefully something that we can do next summer to kind of bridge what is going to be going on.
And Emily, one other comment came in from John about coaches can get gym access year-round. Do you want to address that one too?
Yeah, I remember last coach's call, I believe Franz had answered this question. I can't remember exactly the process to get everyone access. If you'd like, you can email me directly and I can make sure that you get that access. So then you can have a touch point for the gymnasium. So I'll put my email in the chat. If you'd like to have that access, just let me know and I'll work with my team to get that for you.
Emily, Franz just emailed out a link. I could put it in chat. It was just like a general sign up.
Perfect. Yep. And I see Ashley did the same. So thank you for reminding me. And yes, that's exactly it. And Ashley put the link right underneath.
That's that's the lab kit one. There was a different one for the
Oh,
gym.
sorry.
For the gym.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Ashley, do you know what link that is? I personally don't know what it was.
I will have to go and find it. So if you have it, you are more than welcome to post it in the chat. Otherwise, I will go ahead and find it. Oh, thank you, John.
Thanks, John. There you go. And also, I believe it was in the recap for last November's coach's call. So yeah, thanks, John.
Yeah, so again, to recap what John just posted is as a coach, you can request access to the gym outside of the season. So this is just for coach access, but I think it's a great resource to have for you to, I don't know, maybe start planning other activities, making sure that you're aware of everything that's in the gym and all that good stuff. So yeah, Cyber Skyline is offering gym access to coaches year-round. So that's the link to click on. Let's see, another question came up is, do you have any documentation that outlines the best way to prepare students for NCL? I have, and I know you mentioned Moodle, but what we have available is for Canvas. So even if you don't have, and this is for you, Marcy, even if you don't have or your school doesn't subscribe to Canvas, you can actually go to the Canvas site and there's something called the In Common. And in there, you can actually just search for National Cyber League, and that will pull up the Canvas site that I created that has a whole bunch of tools and information that you can use freely available to pull in, and you can probably maybe even pull it in Moodle to prepare students for the season.
I tried doing that and I actually need you to export it in the Moodle format for me to be able to use it.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, I didn't know that was even an option. Perfect. Okay. I'll look into doing that. Do you wanna you can email if you want, you can put your email in chat or you can email directly to I know where is it? With a Cyber Skyline email address if you want.
I'll put my email in chat.
Great. All right.
Okay.
And I'll get that and then I can make sure that I can send that to you and then also we'll have a place to post that for other people that might want it. And again, yeah, thank you, Ashley. She just posted the link that I was doing my hand waving about, which was Canvas and the resources that we have posted there. But I didn't realize that you can export that to Moodle, so that's great. Thanks for letting me know.
Well, thanks for sending.
Sure. Okay, got your email address. Perfect. Okay, so let's move on to the next piece. What we would like to talk about is when should we be meeting next semester? So what works for everybody? And we have a poll up. So now that you're here and I have a captive audience, if you could, and I think, yep, Ashley just posted the link to the doodle poll in chat. So you can either click on that link in chat or you can use that QR code. But if you could take a minute, at least to pull it up on your phone or your computer now, just to remind you to do this later on, we do need to have a good time for all of us to meet next semester. And we do change this semester to semester because we know people's schedules change. And we do have new coaches coming in and some coaches going out. So we're trying to look for a time that works best for the entire group. So help us figure out the best time that works for everybody by filling out that doodle poll. I'll make sure everybody has a second to capture that. I should also mention deadline for responses is the 17th, so next Tuesday. So please try to get it done by then. And that will help us figure out when we are going to have the next coaches call. And like it says here, that is TBD.
David, this
Yeah.
is Jasmine. There's a question from Russell. Is it allowed to use NCL materials in class as examples or for homework?
Oh, thanks for pointing that out. So yeah, when we have any of the challenges, we do allow you to present them in class, but we do ask for that anything that you present in class about the challenges remains within your class. So just make sure you don't post that outside of class, meaning anything that's internet facing. So yeah, go ahead and talk about it in class. Maybe even post it if you have like a doodle or a Canvas site, that's fine. But just make sure anything that you post about those challenges doesn't get out to the general public. So yeah, thanks for asking. We're happy for you to talk about it in class. Just keep it to the class, nowhere else. And one thing that I do too is I have my students, at least in the practice game, share how they solve challenges because the practice game is just that, it's practice. So I actually have an internal Google Doc that I have students post how they shared, or how they solved each of those challenges. And then that's shared with the whole class. So the class can kind of learn alongside each other. So maybe that's also something to consider. But again, just make sure it stays internal. Josh, your question is, and if our classes are virtual, um, are you asking what about that? You want to add a little more to your question? Oh, driving. Okay. Well, don't drive and type. That's not a bad idea. If your classes are virtual, yeah, you can still definitely discuss NCL challenges, but again, if you are recording it to say like YouTube, that would not be great. Please don't post that on YouTube. That's accessible to the entire public. Make sure that if you are broadcasting this out, that it stays just to your class. So maybe that's what you're asking. Okay. All right. So yeah, for the next coach's call, it is TBD. And we will announce that once we get the results of the doodle poll. So with that, we didn't have a specific thing to discuss. As a group, we're kind of gonna give you a little time back, I think, at the end here. But what I would like to do is if you have more questions or if you have anything else more to talk about, we'll kind of open it up for a general session at the end of this call. And for those of you that don't have anything else to ask or anything else to add to the conversation, thank you for joining, and I hope everybody has a great end of semester. If you haven't already ended, good luck on grading, and hope to see everybody again for the spring season starting just next month. So see everybody again in 2025. Thanks for joining the call. And again, if you have more questions, we'll stay on right now at the end and in chat.